Awakening to our greater self and greater mission. Installment 77, Gosho Lecture for June 2022. The ultimate aim of our Buddhist practice is, on an individual level, to attain Buddhahood in this lifetime, and on a societal level, to establish the correct teaching for the peace of the land through widely spreading the mystic law. In other words, it is for each of us to elevate our state of life, strive together to accomplish our human revolution, and build a happy and secure society that makes respect for life and human dignity its spiritual foundation. My mentor, Second Soka Gakkai President Josei Toda, described the spirit of human revolution to his young disciple as follows. If you are a youth who is genuinely concerned for your country and wishes for the happiness of the people, then you yourself should first seek this lofty essence of human revolution, that of working for the happiness of all people based on faith in Nichiren Buddhism. Battle and triumph over the three powerful enemies, as well as the three obstacles and four devils, and continue exerting yourself bravely and vigorously. Change for a better society. Many of the youths striving alongside Mr. Toda, and at that time had only recently joined the Soka Gakkai. Some were battling illness, and many were struggling with economic hardship. But having encountered the mystic law and awakened to the mission for Kozen-Rufu while young, they were challenging themselves courageously to create a peaceful society based on the life-affirming philosophy of Nichiren Buddhism. Mr. Toda taught these youth, to whom he would entrust the future, that Kozen-Rufu is an ongoing struggle against the devilish nature inherent in life. Our personal attainment of Buddhahood in this lifetime and the essence of human revolution, he explained, lie in battling the three obstacles and four devils, defeating the workings of fundamental ignorance within our hearts and forging ahead bravely and vigorously. Our grassroots Buddhist movement seeks to help people awaken to the infinite potential and power they and others possess, become strong and wise, and work together as agents of change for human happiness and the betterment of society. He noted that the established authorities, however, are certain to see the emergence of this new force for good as a threat and try to undermine and destroy its solidarity. That's why he said we must be ready for the inevitable onslaughts of the three powerful enemies. Only by resolutely confronting and vanquishing the obstructive forces that inflict suffering on the people can we advance our movement to realize Kozen-Rufu and establish the correct teaching for the peace of the land. From the day Nichiren Daishonin proclaimed his teaching on April 28, 1253, he initiated a momentous struggle, holding high the banner of Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, the law for the enlightenment of all people. He overcame storms of opposition and persecution to open the way for the eternal transmission of the law. The greatest trials he encountered in his lifetime were the Tatsunokuchi persecution on September 12, 1271, and the subsequent Exado exile. This year is the 750th anniversary of the Tatsunokuchi persecution. Let us mark this occasion by taking a fresh look of the significance of Nichiren Daishonin casting off the transient and revealing the true at that time. The Daishonin fought tirelessly as the Buddha of the latter day of the law to enable all people to attain enlightenment. By examining his noble spirit, let's consider what it means for the Soka Gakkai and for each of us to cast off the transient and reveal the truth, and use it as an inspiration to deepen our resolve in faith. Collusion between secular and religious authority. On the 12th day of the 9th month of last year, September 12, 1271, between the hours of the rat and the ox, 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., this person named Nichiren was beheaded at Tatsunokuchi. It is his soul that has come to this island of Sado, and in the second month of the following year, February 1272, snowbound in writing this to send to his close disciple. The description of the evil age in the Encouraging Devotion chapter seemed terrible, but one who cares nothing about oneself for the sake of the law has nothing, it will be terrified. This scriptural passage is the bright mirror that Shakyamuni. The description of the evil age of the Encouraging Devotion chapter seems terrible, but one who cares nothing about oneself for the sake of the law has nothing to be frightened about. Others reading it will be terrified. This scriptural passage is the bright mirror that Shakyamuni many treasures and the Buddhas of the 10 directions left for the future of Japan, and in which the present state of the country is reflected. It may also be regarded as a keepsake from me. The Opening of the Eyes, the Writings of Nichiren Daishonin, Volume 1, page 269. This passage from the Opening of the Eyes confirms that at the time of the Tatsunokuchi persecution, Nichiren Daishonin cast off the transient and revealed the truth. On September 10, 1271, the Daishonin was summoned to appear before Heino Seimen Nojo Yoritsuna for questioning. 2 days later, on the evening of September 12, Yoritsuna led a band of armed soldiers to his dwelling to arrest him. As Nichiren later wrote, this was not because of any secular crime. Letter from Sado, writing Nichiren Daishonin 1, page 303. On his part, hostile priests seeking to avoid facing him in religious debate conspire with government officials to level false accusations against him and his followers, and as a result, he was unjustly arrested. Key among them were Ryokan, the chief priest of Gokuraku-ji Temple, whom the Daishonin had triumphed over in a contest to pray for rain, and Nena Ryokchu and his cohorts, whose corrupt nature the Daishonin had exposed. All of this accorded with the kind of persecution predicted in the Lotus Sutra. However, the Daishonin once again strongly remonstrated with Yoritsuna, pointing out that useless those in power put a stop to slander of the law and upheld the correct teaching. The two disasters of internal strife and foreign invasion that he had warned would befall Japan in his treatise on establishing the correct teaching for the peace of the land were certain to occur. After arresting him, the authorities had apparently decided to exile the Daishonin to Sado Island, and he was detained that evening at the residence of Ojo Nobutoki, to constable of Sado. But suddenly, in the middle of the night, he was taken to the beach of Tatsunokuchi on the outskirts of Kamakura. Certain officials of the military government who were deeply antagonists to the Daishonin had secretly decided to execute him under cover of darkness. Just as the executioner prepared to behead him, a brilliant orb as bright as the moon burst forth. The action of the votary of the Lotus Sutra, writing of Nichiren Daishonin 1767. From the direction of the small nearby island of Enoshima, abruptly putting an end to the assassination attempt. This is a Tatsunokuchi persecution. A state of limitless freedom, brimming with wisdom, compassion, and courage. Why, though not actually executed, does Nichiren says in this passage? This person, named Nichiren, was beheaded. The opening of the eyes, writing of Nichiren Daishonin 269, it is to express the profound significance of his casting off the transient and revealing the truth. As he indicates by the phrase, this person named Nichiren, he is saying that the life of the ordinary individual known as Nichiren came to an end at Tatsunokuchi. The Daishonin was taken from Tatsunokuchi to the residence of Homa Shigetsura in Aichi, Sagami Province, part of present-day Atsugi City, Kanagawa Prefecture, where he stayed for about a month until he was formally sentenced to exile on Sado. In a letter he composed while in Aichi, he discussed the principle of lessening karmic retribution. See lessening on one's karmic retribution, writing of Nichiren Daishonin 199. Nichiren indicates that he was able to attain the Buddha Supreme Enlightenment through encountering persecution. This, he said, was just like Bodhisattva never disparaging, who attained the Buddha way when his offenses had been wiped out. The Lotus Sutra and his opening and closing sutras, page 312. That is, when his karmic offense from past lifetimes and of slandering the correct teaching were finally eradicated through meeting with persecution for the sake of the law. See writing Nichiren Daishonin, page 199. Nichiren showed through his example that an ordinary person of the latter day, born into an evil age and plagued by suffering, was able, due to the blessing obtained by protecting the law, writing of Nichiren Daishonin 1, page 281, to lessen karmic retribution for slandering the law in the past lifetimes and eradicate those past offenses. He demonstrated it was possible to break free from the negative cycle of the three paths of earth desire, karma, and suffering. The Daishonin then says, it is Nichiren's soul that has come to the island of Sado, writing of Nichiren Daishonin 269. Soul here refers to the originally inherent life state that can transform earthly desire, karma, and suffering. In other words, it is the life state of those come one, endowed by the three defining features of Buddhahood, namely the Dharma body, the reward body, and the manifested body. It means being awakened to the mystic law, the ultimate truth pervading life and the universe, and having the courage to confront and overcome all hardship with supreme wisdom. It is also a state of complete freedom and infinite compassion for all life. The Daishonin awakened to and firmly established this unsurpassed state within his life just as he was as an ordinary person. By practicing as the Buddha taught with selfless dedication, he revealed the state of Buddhahood that is originally inherent in the lives of all ordinary people in the latter day. The opening of the eyes clearly captures Nichiren boundless life state as the Buddha of the latter day of the law, who possesses the three virtues of sovereign teacher and parent, and seeks to lead all people to enlightenment. This life state is the essence of Nichiren Daishonin, casting off the trance and revealing the true. All inherent possess the life state of the Buddha and time without beginning. In a well-known passage of the opening of the eyes, Nichiren writes, "Although I and my disciples may encounter various difficulties, if we do not harbor doubts in our hearts, we will, as a matter of fact, attain Buddhahood. Do not have doubt simply because heaven does not lend you protection. Do not be discouraged because you do not enjoy an easy and secure existence in this life." Writing of Nichiren Daishonin 1, page 283. I and my disciples will, as a matter of course, attain Buddhahood means that the life state of the Buddha of time without beginning, inherent within the Daishonin, is also inherent within every one of us. But as long as the delusion and suffering that cloud people's lives control them, they will fail to perceive their inner Buddhahood. That is why Nichiren tirelessly encouraged his disciple through his own examples and behavior, through his guidance and instruction. He also wrote countless letters to them, engaging in dialogue through the written word to inspire and support them in faith and practice, so that they could reveal the same inner life state of Buddhahood he had. In essence, he told his disciple that by summoning the heart of a Lion King and persevering through all with unwavering faith, they could manifest the same vast life state of wisdom, courage, and compassion as the Buddha. From this, it is clear that the key for ordinary people to attain Buddhahood is to practice, just as Nichiren teaches. In the conclusion section of the opening of the eyes, he calls on us to engage in spreading the mystic law, a struggle to combat the destructive tendencies arising from fundamental ignorance, the ultimate cause of people's suffering. We can see this as expressing his wish for us to follow his example and cast off the transient and reveal the truth in our own lives, a reflection of the present. We can read the second half of the passage we are studying from, the opening of the eyes, as the Daishonin instruction to recognize the essence of the three powerful enemies and fight resolutely against them. It says that he is writing this work in the second month of the following year, February 1272, snowbound, to send to his close disciple, writing Nichiren Daishonin 1, page 269. He had begun composing the opening of the eyes soon after his arrival on Sado, and after completing it in February 1272, he entrusted to Shijo Kingo to share with his closest disciple. Next he writes the description of the evil age in the encouraging devotion chapter seems terrible, but one who cares nothing about oneself for the sake of the law has nothing to be frightened about. Writing on Nichiren Daishonin 1-269. He ardently encourages his disciples, assuring them that though the three powerful enemies described in encouraging devotion, the 13th chapter of the Lotus Sutra, may seem intimidating, for practitioners of this sutra, they are nothing to fear. At the same time, his statement that others reading it will be terrified, right in Nichiren Daishonin 1-69, declares that those who are not prepared to live out their lives together with him as the practitioner of the Lotus Sutra are certain to be frightened by this description in the encouraging devotion chapter. The Daishonin, while acknowledging that the three powerful enemies, and in particular the third kind, arrogant false sages, can indeed the formidable, also expresses his powerful conviction that those who have steadfast faith as practitioner of the Lotus Sutra can triumph over theirs. Ryokan, one of the key figures behind the Tatsunokuchi persecution, was revered by many as a living Buddha, convalescent and deceased husband. Writing Nichiren Daishonin 2, page 77. In reality, however, he was driven by greed and ambition and conspired with the authorities to persecute the Daishonin, the devotee of the Lotus Sutra. He was therefore the epitome of the most straightening of the three powerful enemies, arrogant false sages. Nichiren's efforts to propagate the mystic law were a battle against the three powerful enemies. Though he experienced countless persecutions, including the Matsubayagatsu persecution, the Izu exile, and the Kamatsubara persecution, he refused to retreat a single step as he continued to spread the correct teaching. He also confidently and calmly triumphed over the greatest persecution of all, his near execution at Tatsunokuchi. Later, reflecting on the events of that time, he declared his victory, saying, "I survived even the Tatsunokuchi persecution." Gosho Zenju, page 843. In the opening of the eyes, he writes the scriptural passage from the encouraging devotion chapter is a bright mirror that Shakyamuni, many treasure, and the Buddhas of the Ten Directions left for the future of Japan, and in which the present state of the country is reflected. It may also be regarded as a keepsake from me, writing on Nichiren Daishonin 1-269. This passage describes the serene and boundless state Nichiren had achieved by reading the encouraging devotion chapter with his life, triumphing over the devil king of the 6-7 and standing undefeated against the three powerful enemies. A Buddha in inner enlightenment, a Bodhisattva in outer action. Having cast off the transient and revealed the true, Nichiren Daishonin continued to devote himself to fulfilling the great vow that surged forth even more powerfully from his inherent life state of Buddhahood. This is the vow to enable all people to attain unshakable happiness. It is identical to the constant, earnest wish of Shakyamuni, which Nichiren reveals to as the compassionate vow of the Buddha, who declared at all times, I think to myself, how can I cause living beings to gain entry into this unsurpassed way and quickly acquire the body of a Buddha? Questions and answers about embracing the Lotus Sutra, writing of Nichiren Daishonin 162. This wish is expressed in the concluding lines of the Lifespan chapter, verse, section. Casting off the transient and revealing the true does not mean becoming someone special, something beyond an ordinary human being. It means taking action as a bodhisattva in the real world in society. This is the essence of principle of the mutual possession of the 10 worlds taught in the Lotus Sutra. In other words, the Daishonin inner life state was that of the eternal Buddha, the Buddha of time without beginning, but in his outward actions, in the real world, he behaved as Bodhisattva superior practice, the leader of the Bodhisattva of the earth, whom Shakyamuni charges with the mission of propagating the Lotus Sutra and the evil letter age after his passing. The Bodhisattva of the earth are individuals entrusted with the supreme law, the object of devotion for observing the mind. Writing of Nichiren Daishonin 1, 372. And therefore are enlightened to the same law as the Buddha of time without beginning. Nevertheless, they go out among the suffering people in this troubled Saha world to spread the mystic law as Bodhisattva, seeking to promote human happiness and build a secure and peaceful world. Nichiren exemplified this through his own behavior. Also, though he faced the danger of violent assault by powerful forces, none could succeed in taking his life. This affirmed from the Daishonin that the lofty, invincible state of Buddhahood inherent within him as an ordinary person of the 9 worlds could not be destroyed, and the great vow he made when he established his teaching, the vow to lead all people to enlightenment, he swore never to forsake, only grew stronger over time. The depth of Nichiren's compassion was such that he wished to help every person in the latter day cast off the transient and reveal the true, just as he had done. In that sense, in terms of our Buddhist practice, to cast off the transient and reveal the true means to awaken the awareness that we are here to the Buddha's eternal vow and begin our own dauntless efforts for people's happiness. It starts with one person confidently setting forth on the same great path the Buddha vowed to walk. When such deeply committed individuals unite and launch a movement to establish the correct teaching for the peace of the land, they will build a Buddha realm, a realm of security and happiness for all. This is the true meaning of casting off the transient and revealing the true in Nichiren Buddhism. Shijo Kingo's life of shared struggle with his mentors. Over and over, I recall the moment, unforgettable, even now, when I was about to be beheaded, and you accompanied me, holding the reins of my horse, and weeping tears of grief. Nor could I never forget it in any lifetime to come. If you should fall into hell for some grave offense, no matter how Shakyamuni Buddha might urge me to become a Buddha, I would refuse. I would rather go to hell with you. For if you and I should fall into hell together, we would find Shakyamuni Buddha and the Lotus Sutra there. It would be as if the moon were illuminating the darkness, as if cold water were pouring into hot, as if fire were melting ice, or as if the sun were dispelling the darkness. But if you depart from my advice even slightly, do not blame me for what might happen. The three kinds of treasure. Writing of Nichiren Daishonin, 850. This is a passage from The Three Kinds of Treasure, a letter in which Nichiren Daishonin stressed to his embattled disciple, Shijo Kingo, the importance of the treasures of the heart. Writing of Nichiren Daishonin 1851, and one's behavior as a human being. Writing of Nichiren Daishonin 1852. Here he reflects on their unbreakable bond as mentor and disciple, evident during the Tatsunokuchi persecution. As many of you may know, as his captors led him on horseback to Tatsunokuchi, the Daishonin dispatched a messenger to Shijo Kingo, calling him to his side. He might well have wanted his disciple to witness his indomitable spirit in the face of this life-threatening persecution, and thereby show him the selfless dedication of a practitioner of the Lotus Sutra. Shijo Kingo, accompanied by his brothers, immediately dashed off to join the Daishonin. Without taking time even to put on his shoes, he made his way to Tatsunokuchi with the Daishonin, fully prepared to die alongside him. Just before the executioner raised his sword, Shijo Kingo, overcome with emotion, broke into tears. With the Daishonin, said to him calmly, "You don't understand. What greater joy could here be? You should smile and rejoice." The action of the devotee of the Lotus Sutra, writing of Nichiren Daishonin 1767. This was his proud, defiant cry in the face of imminent death. It was the roar of a lion king, emanating from the towering life state of the Daishonin, who had dedicated his life to the great eternal vow for Kozen-Rufu. Nichiren behavior, as he cast off the transient and revealed the truth during the Tatsunokuchi persecution, demonstrated his life state as a leading force in guiding people of this evil age to enlightenment, that is, as the Buddha of the latter day of the law. But I also believe that it constitutes a ceremony between mentor and disciple, in which the mentor shows the disciple how great a human being can be. Nichiren no doubt sought to edge his life and death struggle for Buddhism in the mind of Shijo Kingo, one of his most trusted disciples, to ensure it would be passed on eternally into the future. That is why he says he will never forget how Shijo Kingo, who readily accepted this mission, accompanied him to Tatsunokuchi. He said that if for some reason Shijo Kingo should fall into hell, he himself would turn his back and becoming a Buddha and follow him there. This is how he praised his disciple, assuring him that he will attain enlightenment without fail. The noble task of elevating the life state of humanity, 7 centuries after Nichiren Daishonin death, Tsunetsaburo Makiguchi and Josei Toda, our first and second president, carried on the Daishonin selfless practice with this same profound bond of mentor and disciple based on the vow for Kozen-Rufu. I also forge ahead wholeheartedly on this same path with the same spirit, and now an endless stream of members is following our lead on the great path of Soka, not only in Japan, but in 192 countries and territory worldwide. Through their dedicated efforts, our members strive to realize the Buddha's intent, tap their Buddhahood to challenge and overcome difficulties, and work to create an ever-growing treasure land of hope and security, happiness and peace. Today, members everywhere are engaged in the noble task of elevating the life state of humanity by bringing forth their greater selves, that is, their true power of Bodhisattva of the earth, and embracing their greater mission, the great vow to realize Kozen-Rufu, and the ideal of establishing the correct teaching for the peace of the land. This is proof that they are casting off the transient and revealing the true in their own life. By living true to their vow and solidifying their unwavering resolve never to be defeated by any obstacles, and as more and more people do so, spreading ripples of unsurpassed joy that will inspire and motivate others to strive alongside us, so will our movement for worldwide Kozen-Rufu develop and grow. The brilliant actual proof of our members' human revolution attests to how the Soka Gakkai has carried on and revived in modern times the Daishonin faith practice for leading all people to enlightenment. The greatness of human beings. As global society grapples with complex problems, now is the time for each of us to rise to the challenge of showing how truly great human being can be in order to change the destiny of humanity. Of humankind. Now, as we make our way to the Soka Gakkai centennial in 2030, Nichiren Daishonin Buddhism of the Sun has begun to brightly illuminate the world. Let us renew our determination to dispel the darkness of the evil age of the latter day of the law, as we persevere with dignity and conviction. Translated from the September 2021 Dai Byakurenge, the Soka Gakkai Monthly Study Journal. Thank you.